Now let's take a look on indexes in the structure. Before we go through these indexes in the structure, let's take a look on the additional node that I add in here. Okay, so to make it easier for you to understand the indexes. So before you understand indexes, you notice that you can add an array in the variable in your structure. So you declare a structure, let's call it menu. So you have a menu structure. And inside this menu structure, you have a variable called beverages, which is a string, but not just string, it's an array of string. Okay, so you can leave it blank here. So it means it's flexible how many number of collections of array for this variable. Yeah, and then you create a method for the menu. Okay, so the menu can pass two string, for example. Now let's assign some value in the beverages variable. So in the beverages variable, you assign a couple of string inside. Okay, so it means beverages 0 is Americano, beverages 1 is cafe au lait, beverages 2 is cafe macchiato, beverages 3, and beverages 4. Okay, so there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this example. Okay, there are 5 array. There are 5 lists in the array of beverages. Now, after you declare this structure, so you can make use of this straight away. All this value inside your structure, you can use it and call it straight away once you instantiate the structure. So let's instantiate the structure. Just call the structure name. Okay, remember how to instantiate the structure. Use the structure name, which is menu. Give the name for your instance. So let's say call my menu, yeah, equal to new menu method. Yeah, okay, you can also pass 2 strings if you want, but in this case we leave it blank. If you want, you can leave this out as well. No. Anyway, the beverages here. Okay, so 0, beverages 0, beverages 1, beverages 2, beverages 3, and beverages 4. You assign beverages 0, okay, from my menu. Okay, so my menu dot beverages 0, which is Americano. You assign that string into, you create a new variable, let's say call it first string, okay, equal to whatever beverages, whatever the first value in the beverages array. Okay, so which is Americano. So in this case, you create a variable called first string. Okay, it store the value of Americano into this variable. Yeah, can create another one called string second ring, for example, equal to my menu dot beverages 1. Okay, so beverages 1 is cafe au lait. Okay, so you can assign it into another variable. Yeah, so that is how you access the array items directly. Now this is where the indexes come. Yeah, sometimes the more intuitive approach for you, rather than do my menu dot beverages 0, my menu dot beverages 1, and so on, you want to make it such that it is my menu 0 instead of my menu dot beverages 0. Yeah, so if you want to do that, you can create something called an indexer. Okay, so to declare an indexer, it's pretty straightforward. Instead of creating a method like this, okay, you create an indexer called this. Okay, so this is how it works. Let's say you create a private string array of string array called beverages, okay, which consists of the same thing: Americano, cafe au lait, cafe macchiato, and so on. Okay, so the value are the same. It's just that this beverages variable is a private, so it's only recognized within this structure. So how to make this variable recognized outside the structure? You do the properties. Yeah, you create the properties. You create the properties called public string. In this case, because you want to create an indexer, you want to access Americano, cafe au lait, and so on directly using my menu 0, my menu 1, my menu 2, my menu 3, okay, my menu 4, okay, instead of my menu dot beverages. Yeah, So so you create the keyword using the keyword this public string this, okay, in the bracket the index, okay, because this is an index 0 1 2 3 4 and so on. So you create a variable, whatever the name of the variable, you can say int_i or int_index, okay, and then start applying the get and set, okay, because this is a property. You can either allow it to read and write, or read only or write only. So in this case I allow read and write. So I read the value from this parameter, the variable, okay, I allow it to be read, okay, by calling the menu indexer. Yeah, so return this dot beverages, okay, in the bracket index. Yeah, so index, see, this means whatever that you instantiate later from the indexer. So by default currently is a structure, so menu, this in this case is the menu 0, okay, so now menu 0 is equal to Americano, okay, now menu cafe au lait, okay, menu 1 is cafe au lait, menu 2 is cafe macchiato, okay, because you actually assign menu dot beverages indexer into menu indexer. So in this case menu 0, okay, equal to menu dot beverages 0, okay, so menu dot beverages 0 now equal to, you return it, okay, menu 0, okay, menu dot beverages 1, okay, equal to menu 1, okay, menu dot beverages 2 equal to menu 2, menu dot beverages 3 equal to menu 3, okay, so later on in the code you don't have to call menu dot beverages indexer anymore. All you need to do is just call menu and the indexer, okay, menu 0, menu 1, menu 0, menu 1, menu 2, menu 3, menu 4, okay, so it shortened the coding. Yeah, okay, so you can use the indexer call this, okay, this in this case is the structure itself, okay, and when you instantiate the structure. Now this is optional, you can add another variable, okay, or another property, okay, called length, okay, the length is the read only value, okay, so it means when the structure is being instantiated, it only return the value of length. The code, okay, when they construct the structure, they cannot assign the value into the length. They cannot construct the value into menu dot length, okay, so it's read only. So what is menu dot length? Menu dot length, it return the value of the variable beverages dot length, okay, it means how many arrays are there inside the beverages string variable. Yeah, so beverages string variable in this case have 1 2 3 4 5, okay, so beverages dot length will return 5 in this case. Yeah, so let's say if I modify this into adding another, okay, yeah, I hope I spell correctly, I'm not sure whether it's double C or one C, okay, so now in this case, okay, when you construct the menu, okay, menu dot length will be 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, okay, so after you create that structure and you're happy with that, now in your code you can call you can use that structure. Yeah, it's not a method, so you don't call, you construct the structure. Yeah, So to construct the structure, call the name of the structure, okay, menu, then give the new name of your structure variable. Okay, so let's say call my menu equal to new menu. Okay, and then you create a variable called first drink. Okay, see here, you no longer have to do dot beverages. Okay, so you just call my menu index number 0, okay, which we return Americano, okay, into this variable first string. Yeah, and you create another integer variable called number of choices. So my menu dot length, yeah, we return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the length of this array are 6. Okay, so in this case the result would be number of choices equal to 6. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's take a look on lesson 2, organizing data into collections. The example of collections is array itself. So array is a collection of variables, okay, and you can determine the data type for those variables. So let's take a look of other examples of collections. Now, choosing the collections, you can have the list classes. Okay, so the list classes store a linear collections of items. Dictionary, it store collections of key value pair. Okay, another one is queue. Queue classes store items as a first in, first out collections. Stack classes is the opposite of queue. Okay, so the last in is first out. Okay, so the last item in the stack classes collections will be the first one to be displayed. Yeah. The opposite of queue. Now the standard collections of classes are as follow. Okay. In order for you to use this, you can use the classes called system.collections namespace. Okay, so the starting of your coding, you have to write down using system.collections. Okay, so using this namespace, you can use the collections as follow. So the class ArrayList, okay, this is the general purpose list collections. It can store various type of objects. Okay, so it includes the methods, okay, and properties. So some of the method, for example, to add items, to remove item, to count the number of item, and so on. So that method is already built into the ArrayList class. So you can use that. So you can create, okay, ArrayList, and you can use the built-in method for it. Now another one is BitArray. BitArray is the list class. The list class represent a collections of bits as Boolean value. Okay, as the name mentions, it's an array of bits. Okay, because bits can only contains 1 or 0. This is commonly used for the bitwise operations. Okay, so for example, the Boolean arithmetic, or to perform operations for the AND, NOT, OR, XOR, and so on. And another class that is commonly used as well, the hash table. So the hash table is the example of dictionary. So it has the key value pair. Okay, so for example, the key value pair could be the name of the property and the value of the property. Okay, so for example, first name is the key, and then the value is Ellie, for example. Okay, so the key value pair. The queue, okay, queue class is the first in and last out. Okay, so I already mentioned just now. It's a collections where the list of the collections, the first one that is listed, the first one is goes in, is the first one that comes out. Okay. Sorted list, okay, is this class store collections of key value pair as well, but it is sorted. Okay, so this is an addition to the functionality provided by the hash table. So the sorted list enable you to retrieve the items in a sorted way. So either sorted by key, okay, or by index. Stack, okay, stack is similar with the queue. Okay, whatever last being input into the stack is the first one that listed out, come out from the collections. Now some specialized collections class. In order for you to use this, okay, make sure you add the namespace on your coding using system.collections.specialize. Okay, so make sure you add that into your the list of using class. Okay. After you add the namespace into your coding, you can use a couple of classes such as list dictionary. Okay, so the dictionary collections. Okay. Usually this one is for small collections. Okay, less than 10. Hybrid dictionary. That's also the dictionary collections. You can use where you cannot estimate the size of the collections. Okay, so let's say you're not sure what is the size of your collections, use hybrid dictionary. So hybrid dictionary use the it is actually the list dictionary implementations. Okay, it's just that you can't decide how big it will be. Okay? So once it grow larger, it will be automatically changed to the hash table type of class. Yeah. So hybrid dictionary is a combination of list dictionary and hash table. Ordered dictionary is index kind of dictionary class. It enables you to retrieve items by the key or by the index. Okay, it's very similar with the sorted list class, but it enables you to retrieve the item by key or by index, but it is not sorted. Okay, so unlike sorted list, okay, or the dictionary is not sorted. The name value collections, okay, is also a dictionary, okay, which is a key value pair, in which the key and the value are strings. Okay, so the name value collections will throw an error if you attempt to set a key that is not string, okay, or the value that is not string. Okay, so if you have the key value pair that are string, you can use the name value collections. String collections, like the name mentions, is the list class, so it's not a key value pair, it's the list. The collections, which all the items are string. Now string dictionary is similar, okay, it's a dictionary collections in which both keys and values are string. So the difference with the name value collections is you cannot retrieve items from string dictionary using index. Yeah, so that's the difference with the name value collections. Name value collections, you can retrieve the item from the name value collections using an index. Now the bit factor. The bit factor 32 is a structure. As the name mentions that, it can represent 32-bit value as bit array or integer value. Okay, so if it is integer value, you can store it into the bit factor 32. But it can also represent the value as a boolean. Okay. So bit factor 32 is more efficient than the bit array for small value. Okay, so you can divide the bit factor instance into sections to store multiple small values. Okay, so bit array can expand indefinitely. Bit factor only store the binary up to 32 bits. Okay, so this could be more efficient. Yeah, so if you don't want if you want to create bit array that doesn't grow too large, you can use bit factor 32 instead. Now, using the list collections. Let's take a look on the list collections example. So instead of using this original example from the slide, I add additional note here with the more complete coding, okay, with the comment as well. So let's see the example. Okay, let's say you create an array list collections. Okay, so to create array list collections is pretty straightforward. Just type array list and the name of the variable or the object, okay, the variable that store the list of array, yeah, the array list, yeah, and then construct it with the new array list method. Okay, so this is very similar with constructing a structure. Okay, so just call array list, the new name of the variable equal to new array list method. Yep. Now, let's use the structure that we have created before. So you have a structure called coffee, and then you want to instantiate that coffee. You want to build using this. You want to construct with the structure. So you call coffee structure that you have created before, and you instantiate with the name variable coffee1. Okay, and you create another one called coffee2, and create another one called coffee3. And at the same time, you assign the value. So when you instantiate new coffee, you put the value for all the properties. Okay, so this is the strength, this is the name of the coffee, okay, and this is the origin, the country of origin. So coffee 1 is for Arabica and Colombia. Coffee 2, 3, Arabica, Vietnam. Coffee 3 for Robusta, Indonesia. Okay, so you want to store all these informations into these beverages that you just created. Okay, so you have one object, two object, three object that you build based on the structure coffee. Okay, coffee 1, coffee 2, coffee 3. So you have three objects, coffee 1, coffee 2, coffee 3, that you already construct. Now you want to store it somewhere as an array list. Okay, so that's why you declare this array list called beverages. So you can use the built-in method from the array list. Okay, so beverage, you can do beverages dot add. Okay, beverages dot add coffee 1. So this object will be added into the beverages array list, and beverages dot add coffee 2. So this one will be added into beverages as well. Coffee 3, okay, will be added into beverages. So now your array list beverages contains all these three objects. Yeah. Now you can retrieve items from the collections. Okay, so to retrieve that, the item must be explicitly cast back to their original type. Okay, so for example, okay, you want to construct another coffee structure. So you construct a coffee structure, an object called first coffee. Coffee first coffee equal to, okay, you have to cast it. Okay, to cast something, you put the data type. The data type of this first coffee is a coffee structure. So in the bracket, coffee, okay, and you want to put whatever value in the beverages array 0, which is this one, okay, into the first coffee. So coffee, beverages 0, cast it into first coffee, and then coffee second coffee, beverages array number 1, store it into this variable. Yeah. Also, if you want to write it in a console, for example, you can iterate using the for each. Remember in module 1 we are talking about the for each. So for each can list out all the item in the collections. Okay, so all you need to do is just call the for each method, and then what do you want to loop into this for each? What item that you want to list out in this for each? I want to list out beverages. Okay, so for each beverages. Okay, but beverages, because you need to list it out one by one, you need to store it into a container, like a counter. Okay, because beverages is an object coffee. Okay, so each of the object in the beverages is an object coffee. Okay, so you declare, so for each beverages, yeah, but for each only the name of the array list doesn't work, so you have to list it out one by one. Okay, so you have to add coffee, whatever the constructor name for this, and then give any name of this variable. Okay, you can say coffee beverage. Okay, for example, the name of the counter or variable here doesn't matter, or you can call it just simply a variable called coffee. So coffee is a structure coffee, which is an object in. So this is a keyword as well. For each of it consists of a counter, in, and then what is the name of the list that you want to list out. Okay, so in this case is the array list called beverages. In array list called beverages. Okay, so this was easy. This part is just that you need to create a variable that can temporarily store each of the lists from this array list. Yeah, so you can create a coffee variable, which is a structure coffee. Yeah, and then that's to your console write line. So console write line, you want to type in the console some wording, for example bin type colon, and then this is a placeholder for the variable. Okay, so whatever the value that is held by this variable will be displayed into this placeholder. Yeah, so the first console write line would be bin type colon, whatever the first value in the beverages 0. Okay, dot bin. So beverages dot bin is Arabica. Yeah, so this is the beverages 0, beverages 1. Okay, so beverages 0, beverages 1, beverages 2. Yeah, yeah. So the first one, the first line of this will be written as bin type colon Arabica. Yeah, and then the next one, country of origin Colombia. Yeah, and the strength, oops, 4. Okay, so that's the first loop. Okay, the second loop will be similar. It's just that it display the second array list. Okay, which is Arabica. The strength is 3. The country of origin is Vietnam. Yeah, and the third looping, it will display the third one. Okay, which is the bin is Robusta, the strength is 4, and the country of origin, so the country of origin is Indonesia. Okay, so the country of origin first and then strength. Yeah, okay, so that is about the list collections. Okay, the example of list collections, for example array list. Now what about dictionary collections? So as I mentioned before, the difference with the dictionary collections is, we go back here, notice that this is what we call the key. Okay, so in the list you don't need to specify the key anymore. The key by default is the array number. So beverages 0, beverages 1, beverages 2, beverages 3, and so on. Yeah, so this is the key. Okay, the value is whatever value belongs to that particular object. Yeah. Okay, unlike list, dictionary, you can specify the key explicitly. Okay, so this is the example. You create a hash table called ingredient. Okay, instantiate it with the new hash table. Okay, instantiate or construct it, new hash table. Okay, now you have a variable called ingredients, which is an hash table. Hash table, okay, similar with the array list, you can add the value inside it using the dot add. Yeah. So ingredients dot add. Okay, I want to add a key value pair of cafe mocha. This is the key. This is the value. Okay, cafe mocha, and this is the value. Yeah. So you can retrieve the items by key. Okay, so for example, you create a variable, whatever the name of the variable, recipe mocha, for example, equal to ingredients and then the key. Okay, so the key is cafe mocha. To retrieve the value, cafe milk chocolate. Yeah, key value pair. By calling the key, you retrieve the value of this. Yeah, and it store the string coffee milk chocolate into this variable. Okay, so if you have more than one, so let's take a look on this example. Yeah, so same thing as the previous example. I just put a little bit more into the hash table. So same name of the hash table. Okay, so I just add a couple more pair. So the first pair is cafe au lait and the coffee milk, cafe mocha. These are the ingredient, cappuccino. Okay, key value pair, key value pair. Okay, so you can use the for each, okay, or you can use the if functions, okay, to retrieve the value. For example, if ingredients dot contains key cafe mocha, okay, so if inside the ingredients there is any key that is equal to cafe mocha, this is what I want to do. Okay, so if, so what it does is in this if functions, it will check, is there any key called cafe mocha? Yes, there you are. Yeah, and then retrieve, let's say this if functions want to retrieve the value associated with this key. Yeah, I write it in the console. Console.writeLine, the ingredients of cafe mocha are a placeholder. Okay, so this placeholder store the value of ingredients cafe mocha. Okay, so the key cafe mocha store a value cafe milk chocolate. Okay, so it will be, so this string will be displayed in the console as the ingredients of cafe mocha are cafe milk chocolate. Yeah, in here. So you can iterate it as well. Okay, is okay, it's the same as the one that we have seen before in the array list. So you do the for each. Okay, remember for each have the keywords in the bracket in, and then what do you want to loop into. Okay, so what collections that you want to loop. I want to loop the collections of the keys from the ingredients hash table. Okay, so in ingredients dot keys. Okay, so this is built in. And as usual, you create a counter that have to match with whatever that you want to trace over here, that you want to loop over here. Because ingredient.keys contains string, the counter here have to be a string as well. So you create a string, let's say string key. Okay, so whatever the name of the string, it doesn't matter. Or you can say string K in ingredient keys. Okay, and then it will loop for each of the keys in the ingredient. So it will loop. First, it will display cafe au lait, cafe mocha, cappuccino, Irish coffee, and macchiato. Now I want to write it in the console, for example, for each of the loop. Console write line, the ingredients of a two placeholder here. The first placeholder are, and then the second placeholder. Okay, first placeholder is the key. Yeah, Every time it loops, it will retrieve the key from the hash table. Yeah. So at first it will display cafe or late, and then it will display whatever value pointed by this key. Yeah. So it will display cafe or late or cafe milk. Yeah. And so on. So it will display all this in the console. Now you can also query the collections using LINQ. Okay. Language integrated query. Language integrated query is a little bit similar with the SQL syntax, but the SQL syntax start from select statement. Okay, you select the column from a table. Okay, and then order by. Okay, so that's the Transact SQL. For the LINQ, it's slightly different. LINQ will retrieve the table or the object first. Okay, so for example, you create a variable called whatever the name, drinks, let's say. Okay, it's equal to, see, LINQ start from the keywords from. Okay, from string called drink. Okay, so at the same time you create a variable called drink, yeah, which is a data type string. In, okay, you let's say somewhere there you already create a hash table called prices. Yeah. So let's take a look on the complete. So this is additional note I added in. Okay, so to make a little bit more sense. Yeah. Now so let's say you create a hash table called prices. Yeah, which is the new hash table. You construct a hash table called prices. Okay, now you want to add the value into this prices hash table. So the prices hash table, first key pair value is cafe or light, and this is the price. Okay, you add another one, Americano, this is the price, mocha, this is the price, and so on. Okay. Yeah. So so this is for money. Okay. M here stands for money. Now select all the drinks that cost less than $2 and order them by. So this is just an example. So let's say after I create this hash table prices and I add the value inside, okay, the key value pair, I want to check any drink that costs less than $2. Okay, so what I can do using the LINQ is I can create a variable, okay, called bargains, let's say, equal to, and this is the start of your LINQ. Okay, from where? Okay, so this from this object, from prices.keys. Okay, but because I want to trace it one by one, so from, you create a variable called drink, which is a string. Okay, because the key here are all string. Okay, so you have to, when you do the from the object, you have to create a variable which is string to store the key from hash table. Okay. Now it will check, okay, if the prices drink, which is the string here, which is the key. So the first checking, it will check the prices of the cafe outlet. Okay, because that's the first key. Is it less than 2? Yes, it is. So it will capture this. Yeah, and then we check each of them. Okay, so this from statement, it will select the drink which is less than $2. Okay, so this is the conditions. So it will retrieve this. Yeah, so 1, 2, 5 will be retrieved. Okay. You can add additional order by. So this is optional. Okay, but it's a good idea to do this if you want to, let's say, display the result from the cheapest to the most expensive, let's say. Yeah. So you can add additional optional here, the option called order by. So you can do order by prices drink, okay, this is the value. Yeah. So order by the value in the ascending order, okay, as long as it meets this criteria, less than 2. And then you select the drink. Yeah, select all the drink here that is less than $2. Yeah, so this will be retrieve, this will be retrieve, skip, skip, retrieve, 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 skip. Yeah, and then it will display the result. Yeah, so in this example, you write a code to display the result, let's say. Yeah, so you do the for each in bargains, okay, in bargains. So for each in bargain, you create a string, whatever the name of the variable. Okay, let's say I create a string variable called bargain, temporarily store each of the value retrieve from bargains, and then I write it in the console. Console write line bargain. Yeah. So we select the drink. So in this case, it will display Cafe Au Lait, Cafe Americano, Espresso, Espresso Romano, and English tea in the ascending order. Okay, so it will display Espresso first, Espresso Romano, and then English tea, Cafe Americano, and Cafe Au Lait. So that is the result. Now, the last part of this lesson is handling the event. So before we take a look on this slide, it is best to see the full-fledged example of the coding. Okay, so it will become clearer. Yeah, you can always go back to the slides later on. Yeah, so the slides was partially taken from this coding. Now, let's say you create a structure, okay, public structure coffee, and then you declare. Now you want to declare the event argument. Yeah. So by default, event argument is noun. Yeah. Event arguments E is noun. Okay. And then event arguments don't have any argument. Let's say if you want, you can put some comment, okay, to store in the event argument. So it means if the event occur, that is the argument that you want to display to the user, for example. Okay, so let's say my event will have some actions, okay, don't have argument, so you can declare public event arguments E, for example, is now no arguments. And then this is how you create how you declare a handler. Okay, so public delegate, okay, out whatever the name of the event handler, okay, and the structure itself and the event argument. Yeah, and then you can create an event. Okay, so declare an event, public event, let's say call using the out of beans handler. Okay, let's say call out of beans. Yeah. So remember, you have to create the public delegate first, and then you can create the event using that delegate. Yeah. So now let's go back. Yeah. So that is the step to create events and delegate. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look on this example. When you want to create an event, okay, so any event will be linked to the event handler. Okay, so the event will always contain noun until it is subscribed by an event handler. So the event has been handled by a certain method. Okay, we call it the event handler method. Now, in order to make sure that upcoming method will be able to subscribe to our event, you have to declare an event handler, but it's just a delegate. Okay, it means it's going to be an event handler, okay, that is going to handle this particular event. Okay, so that's the very first step for you to create an event. Okay, so you could public delegate. Okay, it returns nothing, point. The name of the delegate, that could be any name. Okay, so let's say called out of beans handler. Okay, and it will it will handle the event in for this particular object. Okay, so we just declare coffee. Okay, and then the event arguments. So event always consists of what do you handle, okay, and the event arguments if there's any. Yeah, and after you create the delegate, okay, then you can create the event, because this event now has the capability to be handled later on by an event handler that we are going to create. Okay, so delegate is like a reference to the upcoming later on. That is a method. Okay, so a reference to a method. Yeah, now so there will be a reference to the method here ready to be used to subscribe to the event. Yeah, now which will handle our event. Now let's say our structure also have two variable called stock, current stock level and minimum stock level. Yeah. Now you also have a method called make coffee. Okay, so the structure coffee.makeCoffee. So the make coffee method will decrease whatever the current stock level value, okay, by 1. Okay, so minus is minus it with 1. And then if the current stock level is less than minimum stock level, okay, so let's say minimum stock level is 5 and then the current stock level is 6. Okay, so after you make one coffee, it will be equal to the stock level. So the next time you make a coffee again, it will be lesser than the current stock level. This is where you can call your event. Yeah, so before you call your event, make sure you check there is anything that subscribe to our event, our delegate here. Okay, so remember you create delegate here with the expectations. Later on in the coding, there is event handler that's going to subscribe to our event. Yeah. So this is what the check-in is for. Okay, if out of beans is not null, it means there is something that subscribe to there's the event handler, okay, that handle this event is not null. Okay, so there's something that subscribe to this. Then you can call the event. Okay, this when you call the event, what do you manage? What this event, where this event occur is for the current object, okay, which is the coffee itself. Okay, and the event arguments is E. Okay, no argument. Again, you can create some arguments if you want to. Yeah, so in this case this is no arguments for this event. Now you can also use a first or default and last method. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. Oh, this is for the hash table. Sorry, that's one more. Yeah, okay, so just now that slide is for the hash table. Okay, so let's continue with the event and we will go back to that hash table, okay, that I missed. Now after you after you create the constructor for the structure, okay, yeah, let's see how you subscribe to the event. Okay, to subscribe to the event, you create a method. Okay, remember just now you have a delegate. Now this is the real thing, yeah, because delegates is the reference to a method. Okay, now this is the method itself. Okay, this method going to subscribe to this reference of the method. Okay, now let's create the event handler. So let's say it's the event handler called handle out of bins. Okay, so this is exactly the same. Okay, okay, so coffee, and then whatever the variable for the coffee, and event arguments, whatever the usually we just create a variable called e. And what do you want to do if it is out of bins? Okay, for example, increase the stock level, or what is this? Okay, purchase and so on. Now or send an alert, okay, to someone. Now after you create this method, you have to subscribe to the event. Yeah, now this is quite straightforward. Okay, on top, let's say this is, they assume that we already know that there is the it's already instantiated one. Okay, yeah. Okay. So somewhere there we already instantiate the coffee one, okay, from the structure coffee, and then you subscribe to the event. So coffee one dot, okay, dot out of bins, which is the event. Okay, to subscribe to the event is pretty straightforward. You just put plus equal, okay, and the name of the method. Okay, so it means this method subscribe to this event. Okay, so it means this method is going to handle this particular event. Yeah, so if this event occur, so once you complete it, if you want to unsubscribe, it's pretty straightforward as well. Okay, just call coffee one dot out of bins, so whatever the name of the event, minus equal. Okay, there's a mistake here. Minus equal. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Okay, so that is the example. That is the module 3. Okay, so the demo of these exercises, I already uploaded it in 2 separate videos.